to the historic Don Johnson Fieldhouse. My name is Ramona Mendez, and I am the athletic director here at Eastern High School. We are very honored to host the 2022 CAAC Senior Scholar Athlete Ceremony in person. This event is 2 years in the making. Due to the pandemic, we had to postpone hosting the event in 2020. But we're back, and we are excited as ever. Tonight is about you, the student athletes. The perseverance and mental fortitude you have all displayed during this time cannot go unnoticed. Through it all, you have not only managed to succeed on the field, but more importantly, in your academics as well. Congratulations to you all. Just a couple housekeeping items. Restrooms here in the field house are located in the main hall on the south end of the building. Student athletes, once you received your plaque, you will be escorted to the north end of the hallway for your photo op with Hoffman Photography. Again, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. At this time, I would like to introduce our superintendent of the Lansing School District, and that's Mr. Ben Schuldener.
Thank you so much, Mona. When she said the superintendent, I really appreciated that. So anyway, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. As somebody who played sports in high school and in college, I just know how powerful and important being an athlete can be. I was telling somebody today that one of the things that we did when I got here was, I had the audacity to raise the GPA requirement for sports here in the district from, 1.66 to a 2. And, there was a lot of pushback. Oh, you can't do that. What are you doing? You're going to stop kids from having access to sports. And of course, what did we find? The kids did the work. Absolutely. Because when you have high expectations for students, they will reach it. And what I love about sports is it's that one thing in our district that we can say, if you want to play, you got to do the work. And here I am standing in front of all of you. You haven't just done the work. You've done exceptional work. All of you should be so proud to be here today, not just representing yourselves, but representing your school, representing your family, representing your district, that you have been able to put in that extra work. You've been able to excel on the court, on the field, in the pool, whatever it is, but also in the classroom, because at the end of the day, I'm a superintendent of a school district. Your students in K-12 education, yes, we're gonna want you to go to higher ed, play at MSU, for the person that's gonna talk after me, but the fact is that when a school district says to a student, we believe you can do it, you can work hard, you can attain that level of expectation, we know you can. And so I'm just thrilled that we get to host you, that we get to be a part of this wonderful day. I hope the next time you're here, the rafters are packed for some state championship that we're gonna win, and that we just want you all to know that in Lansing, we care deeply about sports, we care deeply about students, we care deeply about academics, and we know that by putting all of that together, we're gonna have incredible student success. And that is what's in front of me. So I want to thank all of you, the students, your families for supporting you, driving you to whatever morning practice, night practice they did, the athletic directors, the school district. If it wasn't for everybody pulling together, none of this would have happened. So, personally, I want to thank Mona. I want to thank Chris, who's our district athletic director. I see Principal Carruthers is here. I want to thank him as an extraordinary leader for our schools, and really just to thank all of you for being here tonight, and I wish you all the best. Thank you very much. And now, Dr. Wilcox.
Good evening. Thanks for having me here tonight. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with all of you to celebrate these fine young men and women's accomplishments. The ability to achieve simultaneous academic and athletic success is one that deserves its rightful acknowledgement, and that's what we're here for tonight. I've been fortunate to enjoy a life of academics blended with athletics, and I cherish this opportunity to talk to you a little bit about it. I don't say that facetiously. For most of you who don't know me, I grew up in St. John's. I graduated years ago, long before any of you were considered. And I graduated from their top 10, went on, was able to play baseball at Western Michigan University. I was drafted out of high school by the Detroit Tigers, declined it so I could go on and play baseball in college, where I went on and played for 3 seasons, was an academic All-American, and then went on and played professionally for 7 more years before leaving it and returning back to medical school and become an orthopedic surgeon, do a fellowship with somebody most of you know, Dr. James Andrews, and then served with Alan and the doctor and several of the other doctors as a team physician with Michigan State for years. So I don't say it lightly that there's heavy emphasis on being able to achieve both in and out of the classroom and on and off the field. So this is something that I take great pride in being involved in. I've been blessed to be by the experiences that baseball's brought into my life. Whether it's a small town kid having the chance to live on the other side of the world in Melbourne, Australia, or going from the youth baseball field to St. John's to the cathedral that is Old Yankee Stadium. The game's taken me to places I could have never imagined when I was growing up. For this I'm thankful, but I'm also cognizant that none of this occurred alone in the silo of athletics. Growing up, athletics in my family, it was considered a luxury. My parents expected my brothers and I to put forth a maximum effort in the classroom, or otherwise we wouldn't be allowed to play sports. I'm so thankful that we were held to this expectation. If not for the effort that went into succeeding academically, none of this would have been possible. Putting forth that effort to succeed in the classroom as well as on the baseball field made it possible for me to move on to the collegiate and ultimately the professional level of my baseball career. And through all this, I've come to an important realization that I wanted to share with you all today. I feel sports represents a microcosm of life. I believe its true purpose is to teach us how to succeed in the future. Whether you recognize it or not, sport is constantly molding us and it will reveal our true character because the game is indifferent to who we are or where we come from. But if we're willing to be a good student on the field, it will teach us countless lessons. Among them, how to win with class. We learn to lose with grace. We learn the hard work and dedication that goes into mastering a craft, anything that can be transposed to any field, all starting at the youth level, and hopefully for some of you, you get to continue this on with the opportunities at the next level. For one day, the sport will end, but what will remain facing you in the mirror is the outcome of those countless hours of dedication to your craft that you've logged, and you'll be better for it. You've laid the groundwork for success. I was 27 years old. I retired from professional baseball after a 7-year career. I've been married for 4 years, a little over, and our son was 2.5. I had opportunities to continue playing, but in my heart I felt like there was more and I was meant to do more. I was giving up my job and proverbially every little boy's dream, and I was okay with this. Late in my career, I found myself hanging out, spending more time with the athletic trainers, both intentionally and unfortunately, unintentionally too. And I just couldn't shake the feeling that I wanted to move towards medicine. While I was at Western Michigan, I was majoring in biomedical sciences, which is the pre-med track, and I felt that it was time for me to return to Western to graduate, which I did, achieving the honor of summa cum laude. When I finally pulled the trigger on changing gears, I wasn't scared. I wasn't nervous. I simply reverted to the advice I'd given to multiple friends as their careers in baseball ended and they were unsure of what would be up for them next. I would remind them, baseball is what you do. Sports is what you do. It is not who you are. You're a father, a husband, a son, a brother. You're a sister, a mother. You're all those things. You're so much more than what is simply the athlete that you are. It was time for me, though, to heed my own advice, and because I had committed myself to succeeding in both the classroom as well as on the baseball field, I created a situation where I could seamlessly transition from the baseball field to the medical field because I developed an emotional toolbox big enough to handle whatever came next. To this day, as I operate on people from all ages, from the youth level to the professional athlete, I am bolstered by my experiences and to continue to work and grow every day to be better at what I do. Now, I would implore you, take what you have learned so far in your life, take what you still will have coming forth and apply it in the classroom, the job setting and relationships. Treat people with kindness and respect always. Be the type of person that makes other people better even when they don't even realize it's happening. Be someone other people aspire to be because of how you treat them and your integrity, not because of material possessions. When you speak to people, engage eye contact and speak with the quiet confidence of someone who has committed themselves to an outcome and succeeded. Or better yet, someone who's committed themselves to an outcome, failed, and then gotten back up to do it again because they know they've already learned the lesson that they'll be okay if they keep working. You've all proven to be exceptional young men and women. I would challenge you to continue to seek out growth and knowledge while being steadied by the confidence of past experiences gained through your work ethic. If you continue to strive towards this, with your skill sets, your possibilities are endless. Thank you, God bless, and good luck.
Well, once again, we'd like to welcome everybody. And I'd like to introduce our MC and presenter for this evening, Mr. Tim Stout.
Thank you, Chris. As you heard earlier, this event has not been held with everybody in person the last couple of years. And I thought about this year a long time. My wife just retired as a teacher after 44 years, and I said to her the other night, this class of 2022, I've covered 53 of them on the air in this area, and I've been impressed with a lot of them because it takes a lot of work and effort to achieve academic success and athletic success, especially with letters in two sports. The class of 2022 in this area, I don't know how anybody who follows high school sports or athletics or schools can possibly forget the class of 2022. COVID hit you in 2020 as sophomores, screwed up the whole year from the spring to winter on. So now you get to your junior year. Now we get to your senior year, and we're all still wearing these things even though things look better. Before I introduce Alan Haller, who has some terrific tips, I would leave you with this message moving forward. I believe in the adage that life is not fair, and I think as you go forward through life, you're going to find a lot of things that simply are not fair. But you've had an experience, in my opinion, that very few other people in your age group are ever going to experience. Because as tough as it is when times are good, to be a good student, a good citizen, and a good athlete, throw in what COVID has done over 3 years, and you're all here. Congratulations to every one of you. And to whatever else that Alan adds to you here in just a moment, I would add one thing. You got a shot with the experience that you've had over 3 years to help a heck of a lot of people, because you're going to be able, to counsel your kids, your peers, your work people, because they won't have gone through 3 years of high school what you had to endure, and you succeeded doing it. So when people come to you for advice based off the experience that you've had something frustrating as these 3 years have been, you've had something from that experience that in my estimation will help a heck of a lot of people moving forward. My sense is the athletic director at Michigan State, Alan Haller, will echo some of the same sentiments, if not more. He's a Lansing Sexton product. He's the athletic director at Michigan State, and nothing has been given to him whatsoever. He's just like you. He did it the hard way, and he did it with perseverance all the way through. We always enjoy having some words of wisdom for everybody every year at this, and who better from this area than a Sexton product, the athletic director at Michigan State. Please say hello to Alan Haller. Alan?
Well, good evening. Thank you for that awesome introduction, Tim. I appreciate this opportunity to spend some time with you tonight. Thank you to Athletic Director Henderson for this invitation, and Commissioner Tom Hunt and Superintendent Schuldiner for inviting me to share some time with you today. I also like to recognize a good friend of mine, Principal Marcel Carruthers. Marcel and I go way, way back. He's much older than I am. But, but back in the mid-'80s, he was playing at Central Michigan, and I was at Central Michigan's camp. And I'll never forget you coming over and spending time with me and encouraging me and telling me about your path. I'm not sure what you told your students, but Marcel was a bad, bad dude back in the day. He was the man. And most of all, I want to thank you for the time that you've spent with students over the years, coaching and being a principal and just being a steward in this community. So thank you. I will say this, and I'll move on. It took a lot out of me to sit in that chair over there. So, I grew up in the Lansing community and attended Lansing public schools. I attended Luton and Elmhurst elementary schools, Dwight Rich Middle School, and the great Lansing J.W. Sexton, class of 1988. That's okay, you can clap. If all the teachers, I know there's not many of them here, but all the teachers, coaches, administrators, principals, athletic directors, just please stand up. If any of those are here. What I would like to say to all of you is when I was going through school, elementary through middle school through high school, the same people in your positions during my time had an incredible impact on my development that I'll talk about here in a little bit. And I have not been able to have that group in the same room at the same time since I left Sexton, but this is my opportunity to tell that group through you, thank you for helping produce me, because it is people that had a big impact in my life that allowed me to do some of the things that I've accomplished in life, so thank you. And then before I move on to some of my discussion items and talking points, I'd also like to acknowledge the parents, guardians, grandmothers, grandfathers. Thank you so much for all you do for your students, but for this community. My parents were a big part of my upbringing and taking me to practices in the school and just being there for me and being the rock that they were. And so thank you for all that you do for your children, the students in this community, and being stewards of development. So thank you. All right, I'll be brief, but I want to talk a little bit about some of the lessons I've learned in life. Most of what has gotten me to this point as athletic director at Michigan State University, I learned in this community. I learned in these streets. I learned in some of the same classrooms and gymnasiums and athletic fields that all of you compete in. And, growing up for me, when I was a little kid, I suffered from severe asthma. I haven't shared this story very often, but as a child, it was very difficult for me, and excuse me if I get emotional, because it was a very important time in my life. As a kid, I had severe asthma, and I couldn't run. I couldn't participate in sports the way I wanted to. And I remember being in elementary school and staying up at night, praying to God, wanting to be normal. I remember we had, I don't know if you still do this in the schools, they had a presidential fitness award where you competed and you did push-ups and sit-ups. You had to complete all of these physical exercises, but the last thing was a mile run on the last day of competition. And every year, I'd come up to that mile run, and I couldn't finish it. So I never got the presidential award when I was a little kid. But over time, medications got better, okay? I grew up a little bit, my lungs got a little bit stronger, and I was able to compete. I was able to move on to high school and compete in track, compete in football, but I never got rid of asthma. Asthma always stayed with me. And as a running back in high school, if I had a long run, many times I had to come out the game for a while. In track and field, I could never do an event longer than a quarter mile. One, because I couldn't do the training and practice, and two, I didn't have the lung capacity to do more. And this isn't a woe is me story, because you know what happened during that time? I used that obstacle. I used that illness in my life to springboard me. I worked harder. When I was able to run, I ran harder than anyone. When I scored touchdowns and won races in track and field, you know what? I didn't celebrate the touchdown. I didn't celebrate winning the race. I celebrated the ability to run. I was so thankful that I could run that day. And why that's important to me now is at the time, it was an obstacle. It was something I thought would prevent me from going after my dreams. But in reality, that obstacle turned into my blessing because I worked harder than anybody. And I learned how to focus and be determined. And then also learned how to appreciate things a little bit better. And so as you're going through life, we all have something. We all have something that we just wish we didn't have. Because if I didn't have this, right? If I didn't have this thing, I could be successful, or I could be just like those kids. But take that obstacle and turn it into your blessing. Use it as determination. Trust me, it works. So in high school, moving on to Lansing Sexton, I'm a storyteller, so some of my conversation with you may not flow real easy, but I'm a storyteller. I tell stories about my life. And so when I went on to high school at J.W. Sexton, we had really, really good track teams at that time, okay? And we were coming up on the state regional race, which those of you that run track understand that you have to run in the regionals to qualify for the state meet. And my junior year, we had one of the best teams in the state. And it just so happened that the schedulers scheduled regionals the night of prom. And I know many of you are getting ready to go to prom here in the next couple of weekends. So we had to make a decision. I had to make a decision. Do I go to prom or I go to this regional track meet? And we talked all year, because Detroit Cooley at that time was the best team in the state. And we talked all year, me and my teammates, about how we were going to qualify for states and take down Detroit Cooley. But we came up on that track meet, the regionals, and we had to make a decision. Do we go to prom, or do we go after what we said was our treasure, was our dream, which was a state title? So Paul Pazega, who's my track coach, came in to the track one day, and he found out what was going on, and he sat us down and he said, look, man, I hear all of you want to go to this prom. You want to go to some dance. He said that. He said, well, you all have a choice. You can do something, and you can go out and win a state title, which you'll remember forever, or you can go to a dance, which you'll forget tomorrow. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with prom. It's my son is at Dewitt High School, and he's going this weekend. But I learned, and we decided to go to regionals. We won regionals. All of our relay teams, all of our individuals qualified for the state final. The following weekend, Lansing Sexton won the state title in track and field. We beat Detroit Cooley. And what I learned, thank you. What I learned that I still use, which in our senior staff meeting a couple of weeks ago, I told that story and I still use this, is as you go through life, time is your most valuable asset. Health is, but sometimes we, as I told the story about my asthma, sometimes we don't have anything to do with our health. Sometimes it just happens. But time is your most valuable asset. You can't buy more of it. Your treasure is what you say is important to you, okay? At that time in my life, winning a state title was really important to me, so that was my treasure. You will not accomplish your goals in life if your time, your most valuable asset, is not aligned with your treasure. You can say you want to do all of these things. I wanted to win a state title, but if that didn't match up to how I spent my time, if I decided to go to the prom, my opportunities for success weren't aligned. So make sure as you go through life, your time and your treasure, what you say is important, match up. Because it's important. That will determine your success. That will determine your path in life. And one of the things that I learned at an early age, don't someday your life away, okay? We all go through it and we say, someday I'm gonna do this. You probably tell your parents, someday I'm gonna clean my room. Someday I'm gonna do all these things. And then you get older in life and you someday your life away. Whatever's important to you, your treasure, match it up with your time and do it. I was fortunate, and I'm almost done. I was fortunate to move on to Michigan State University, ran 4 years of track, and then also competed on the football team for 4 years. I moved on from Michigan State and played 4 years in the National Football League, 2 years for the Pittsburgh Steelers, 1 year for Cleveland, and then 1 year for the Carolina Panthers. I was cut 8 times, meaning I was fired, released, let go. I'm not sure what I learned from my experience in the NFL, but I did learn how to pack really quickly. I was good, even to the point now where my kids are like, we go on trips and like, how did you learn how to pack so well? Yeah, I was cut 8 times. I moved on from the NFL. Well, I guess maybe I should say the NFL moved on from me. And I had a 13-year law enforcement career, which was awesome. Really helped me how to deal with people, how to talk to people, how to get out of my comfort zone, which was not necessarily speaking to people. But it was a really, really good time in my life. I spent the past 11 years working in college athletics at Michigan State. On September 1, 2021, yeah. I was named the athletic director at Michigan State. I'm sorry, I'm making a mess of this. This is my dream responsibility. It's not a job. It's my dream responsibility. Everything that I've gone through in life, my parents' development, the story I told you about when I was a child, my time in this community, the people that laid hands on me, the people like you, all of the other parents allowed me to do this job. And what we're trying to do at Michigan State is build a culture of what I call excellence, to make sure our student athletes have all the resources and support to maximize their potential and go after their dreams. And we're also building a staff. I'm very intentional about the people that I allow to get close to me and that I allow to get close to our student athletes. I'm very intentional about that because it's really important that you surround yourself. I surround myself, I surround our student athletes with people that are different than them. You learn so much from other people. It's easy. My college football coach used to say birds of a feather flock together. The old people in the room know that just simply means you hang out with people that are just like you. That keeps you out of trouble for the most part. But as I've gotten older, I changed that a little bit. You do need to associate yourself with people that are different than you, that don't look like you, that grew up differently than you, that may not be from the same area. It's helped me in this job as athletic director. There's been many times, I thought something was a great idea, and I talked to my staff, I talked to other people, and I learned it wasn't a really good idea. And that's just simply because I've surrounded myself with people that don't think like me, and then allow them to feel valued enough so they can speak up. So make sure you surround yourself with people that are smarter than you and people that have different experience. Your life will leave you clues to success. The challenges I've faced in life have prepared me to celebrate my successes. As I close, as you continue to develop, because this is about academics and athletics, your education is important, okay? It's really important. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, so education has been important to me. But your path in life will be determined by the people that cross your path and by the people you impact. You will get to the places in your life through people, not through books, okay? Not through what we learn in school. Those are important. I'm sorry, teachers, principals. Those are important. But connect to people, talk to people, get to know people. Bring people close to you that are different from you. In closing, we all have a gym bag, okay, that we put our gym clothes in, that we take to our workouts. What do you put in your personal gym bag? For me, your core values, who you are, your non-negotiables. What are the things in your life that you won't compromise? For me, I will not compromise anything that has to do with my family. I will not compromise getting myself involved in anything that compromises my kids. And now as I moved into the athletic director's position, I will not make any decisions that compromise the development of my student athletes. Decision making. Say no more than you say yes. Your life will be determined by the things you say no to. Trust me. Be a good teammate in life. I love Disney, but Disney has a principle that it's everyone's job to pick up trash, okay? It's everyone's job. So be a trash picker-upper as you move through life, okay? Be a good teammate. Lifelong learner, education, job, community, but be a lifelong learner about people. Sometimes we go through life, and I'm almost done. Sometimes in life we go through things and we feel like we're alone. But there are 4 things in life you will always be able to control: what you think, what you say, what you feel, and what you do. You will always be able to control that. And remember, match your time with your treasure. Don't someday your life away. And remember, sometimes our obstacles stay with us our entire life, okay? I still have asthma to this day. I still carry an inhaler with me every single day. My obstacle is my blessing. Thank you, congratulations, and enjoy the evening.
Thank you, Alan. We come to what always has been a terrific part of any school year, and that's the honoring of the 190 seniors from the CAAC that we honor tonight. And we don't rehearse this. We've never done it through the years. It's very informal. And for any of you, they always give me a pronunciation guide. But you know what? I always screw it up. So when you're going by, and Tom, I'm not quite sure exactly how this works out here. I know who the first school is because we got 19 schools and 190 honorees. I'll read them all off: the name, the sports lettered in, the parents, the college choice, and the major, all right? After each school, I'll say the Quakers of Lansing Eastern High School, and then you can burst into applause, and when we're all done, we'll give all 190 applause again. And there has never been one of these that I've done that I have not screwed up somebody's name. And also be sure and stop me and say, no, you didn't do that right. Make sure that you get this right. So at that point, we are going to, because there are 3 divisions, the red, white, and the blue in the CAAC, all right, 19 schools. So we're going to start with the CAAC Red Division, and let's call first the host Lansing Eastern Quakers. The athletic director is Ramona Mendez. The principal, already honored, is Marcel Carruthers. So Eastern, you come on up here, and as I call your name, and they're all in order, you'd think that we rehearsed this, frankly, but we haven't. But when you got smart kids, smart athletes, all that good stuff, they're good. Let's begin for Lansing Eastern with Michaela Alston. The parent is Anita Alston Palmore. Her sports, volleyball, soccer. She's off to Michigan State to study sports business management. Uriah Armendariz, the parents Nicole Taylor and Jay Gonheim. The sports, cross country, swimming, and track. The major at Lansing Community College is business. On we go. Giovanna Gallegos. The parents are Artemio Gallegos and Maribel Hernandez Esquivel. The sports, cross country, swimming, and tennis. Off to the University of Michigan to study computer science. Feliciana Garcia. The parents are Judy Borghi and Tony Borghi. The sports, volleyball, and track. Off to Lansing Community College to study nursing. Trayshawn Holbrook. Rayshawn Holbrook and Daniel Coward and Crystal Williams are the parents. Her sports are basketball and soccer, off to Michigan State to study kinesiology. Macabeo Hudi Velasco. The parents are Peter Hudi and Estella de Hudi. The sports are cross country, swimming, and track. Still undecided about a college and a major. Khalid Jackson, the parents Errol Jackson and Allie Wilson. The sports are football and track. Off to Alma College to study computer science. Say it again. Caleb Jackson. Congratulations, Caleb. You're the first one that I screwed up tonight. Way to go. Maria Quintero. The parents are Anna Cavazos and Maria Quintero. Maria sports volleyball, softball, off to Michigan State to study psychology, human development, and family studies. Brett View, the parent is Me View. Sports, soccer, and baseball, off to Lansing Community College to study physical therapy. And Jalea Yang, the parents are Hugh Yang and Shuea Mua. The sports are volleyball and soccer, off to the University of Michigan to study biopsychology and pre-med. A high five to the Quakers of Lansing Eastern High School. There you go, guys. Now we'll bring up the Fowlerville Gladiators. The athletic director, Brian Osborne, is here. The principal is Brad Lusk. And for the Fowlerville Gladiators, let's begin first of all among their star senior student athletes, Carly Atchison. The parents are Christina and Brad Gollin. For Carly, volleyball and softball, off to Concordia University to study nursing. Emma Brown, Ashley and Gordon Brown, Emma's parents, her sports, volleyball, bowling, and tennis, off to Saginaw Valley State to study nursing. Zachary Kerr, Jill and Lucas Kerr, Zachary's parents, cross country, basketball, and track, undecided at the moment about a school and a major. Reagan Esch, Christine and Dan Esch, Reagan's parents. The sports are cross country and track, off to Madonna University to study to be a nurse practitioner. Jenna Gill, the parents are Sandra and Stephen Gill. For Jenna, cross country and track. The college plans Grand Valley State to study biology and pre-veterinary. Lindsay Lemieux, the parents are Lori and Peter Lemieux. For Lindsay, volleyball and soccer, off to the University of Michigan to study biochemistry and mathematics. Annika Scott, the parents are Karen and Jason Scott. For Annika, golf, bowling, and tennis, off to Grand Valley State to study nursing. Jack Schrader, the parents are Rachel and Brett Schrader. For Jack, football, basketball, and track, off to Michigan State to study biological science and pre-med. Abigail Thomas, the parents are Jill and Jeff Thomas, volleyball and bowling. And for Abigail, off to Spring Arbor University to study criminal justice. And Isaac Way, the parents are Armanda and Matt Way. For Isaac, tennis and baseball, off to the University of Michigan to study international business. The best of Fowlerville High School. Way to go, guys. I'll be getting your autographs someday, every one of you guys. Let's bring up the Hazlet Vikings. The athletic director is Darren Ferguson. The Hazlet Vikings, they're all set to go. You'd think we rehearsed this thing, believe me. Audrey Archambault. The parents are Jennifer and Brad Archambault. For Audrey, the sports are basketball and soccer, off to the University of Michigan to study biomedical engineering. Justin Dixon. The parents are Dominica and Fidencio Palacio. The sports are bowling and golf, off to UCLA to study business economics. Adelaide Fackler. The parents are Kimberly and William Fackler. Bowling and soccer, off to the University of Michigan to study architecture. Graham Foster. Leanna and Mike Foster, Graham's parents, track and cross country, off to Saginaw Valley State with a major yet to be declared. Eliana Johnson. The parents are Megan and Matthew Johnson. For Eliana, gymnastics and track, off to Hope College to study education. Prableen Pawar. The parents are Saimar and Jasdeep Pawar. The sports are golf and tennis, off to the University of Michigan to study computer science and data science. Declan Quinn. The parents are Catherine and Brian Quinn, hockey and lacrosse, off to Michigan State's Lyman Briggs College to study biomedical lab sciences. Emily Sargent. The parents are Dawn Sargent and Robert Cameron. For Emily, cross country and track, off to Michigan State to study human biology. Abby Sloan. Diane and Matt Sloan, the parents, soccer and volleyball. For Abby, she has lettered in, off to Michigan State to study packaging. And Alex Zigo. The parents are Carrie Brick and Connie Zigo. For Alex, hockey, football, and lacrosse, off to Michigan State to study teaching. The best of the Vikings of Hazlet High School. You know what I like too about this? There were majors in here that in my wildest dreams I never would have thought about that I was ever going to study myself in college. I don't know where they come up with them, but you know, the upside of this is what, excuse me, to me, this is America tomorrow. The Mason Bulldogs are led by Athletic Director Connor Thomas. The principal is Lance Delbridge, and let's begin with Lauren Bleisner. The parents are Jeremy and Elizabeth Bleisner. The sports are swimming, diving, and tennis. Lauren is off to Northern Michigan University to study nursing. Landon Buskirk. The parents are Dan and Jennifer Buskirk. The sports are cross country and track, off to Michigan State to study physics. Madeline Crome. The parents are Matthew and Michelle Crome. The sports cross country and track, off to Hope College to study biology. Allison Donath, parents Wesley and Dawn Donath. The sports are cross country and track, off to Michigan State to study human biology. Thomas De La Fuente. The parents are Thomas De La Fuente and Jacqueline Honeycutt. The sports are tennis, cross country, swimming and diving, off to the Air Force to study aeronautical engineering. Amelia Kursky. The parents are Jason and Mary Kursky. The sports are cross country and track, off to Saginaw Valley State to study psychology and exercise science. Colin Coate. The parents are Michael and Dana Coate. The sports are tennis, basketball, baseball. Undecided about a school at the moment, but the major will be biomedical engineering. Amanda Meninga. The parents are David and Catherine Meninga. For Amanda, cross country and track, off to the University of Michigan to study international relations. Eric Rice. The parents are Charles and Jennifer Rice. For Eric, cross country and track, off to Saginaw Valley State to study physical therapy. And Brendan Richardson. The parents are Patrick and Melissa Richardson. The sports for Brendan, tennis and basketball, off to the University of Michigan to study business administration. The best of the Bulldogs of Mason High School. There you go. Way to go. Way to go, guys. Let's bring up the St. John's Red Wings. The athletic director is Chris Irvin. The principal is Mark Dobson. These are the senior superstars from St. John's High School. Luke's all excited about this because this is his school. He only wishes he could be as good as all these guys are. Beginning with Lauren Beck, Michael and Deanna Becker, the parents. The sports are swimming and lacrosse off to the University of Michigan. Astrophysics and mathematics are Lauren's major. Michael Dennis, the parents Christian and Amy Dennis. The sports are cross country and track off to Lansing Community College to study computer science. James Gentner, the parents are Kevin and Amy Gentner. The sports are soccer and track off to Kettering University to study computer engineering. Austin George, parents Randy and Mary George. For Austin, it's tennis and baseball off to Ferris State to study finance and business. Evan Gillespie, the parents are Brent and Jody Gillespie. The sports are basketball and track. The college plans Grand Valley State to major in education. Brody Kushner, the parents are Scott and Carrie Kushner. For Brody, it's basketball and baseball off to Ferris State to study architecture. Jake Liscesky, the parents are Mark and Aaron Liscesky. For Jake, it's tennis and basketball off to Alma College to study political science. Alexis Maloney, Michael and Cheryl Maloney, Alexis' parents, basketball and tennis, the sports, off to Trine University to study mechanical engineering. Carter Nobus, the parents are Matthew and Shannon Nobus. The sports are football and golf, off to Ferris State University to study architecture. Isabel Scheidler, the parents are Brian and Heather Scheidler. The sports are cross country and soccer, off to Lansing Community College to study nursing. And Seth Wells, parents are Christopher and Michelle Wells. For Seth, that's tennis and track, off to Adrian College to study business administration. The best of the Red Wings of St. John's High School. Thanks, Jim. Good to see you. Yep. Yes, St. John's is seated. We bring up the Williamston Hornets, Williamston High School. These are the best senior scholar athletes for the year 2022 from Williamston High School. The athletic director, Paige Paulson, is here to do the presentations. For Williamston High School, let's begin with Preston Carpenter. The parents are Eric and Jennifer Carpenter. The sports are football and baseball, off to the University of Michigan with a major to be determined. Kennedy Carson, parents are Corey and Sarah Carson. Volleyball and tennis. The college plan is Michigan State to study criminal justice. Kennedy, you can ask Alan Haller all about that. He'll give you everything that you need to know at all. Sophie Casey, the parents are Jeffrey and Susan Casey. The sports for Sophie, basketball and soccer, off to the University of Michigan to study biology. Jack Chambers, Nick and Lisa Chambers are the parents. Football and wrestling are Jack sports, off to Michigan State to study civil engineering. Kaylee Douglas, the parents are Nick and Wendy Douglas. The sports are basketball and soccer. Kaylee is off to Saginaw Valley State to study pre-med or nursing. Isaac Honenberg, the parents are Nick and Laura Honenberg. The sports are soccer and basketball. Undecided yet on a school, but the major will be civil engineering. John Hart Jr., the parents are John and Kelly Hart. The sports for John, soccer, football, golf. Undecided yet about a school and a major. Riker Janacek, the parents are Chris and Lori Janacek. The sports are soccer and wrestling. He's off to the United States Air Force Academy to study business. You know what? I stop. When we get to something that's the United States Academy in the military service, I always stop. We love them all equally, but you know what? You're going off the United States. Zachary Painter, the parents are Bruce and Lisa Painter. The sports are football and baseball for Zachary, off to Davenport University with a major to be decided. And last but certainly not least at Williamston, Thomas Warren. The parents are Lyle and Lori Warren. For Thomas, tennis and swimming, off to Grand Valley State University, a major to be decided. The best of the Hornets of Williamston High School. Okay, way to go. That is the CAAC Red. Now we're moving to the CAAC White Division, and in the White Division of the six the six that are there, hang on, I'll get. We begin with the Orioles from Charlotte High School. And for Charlotte, the athletic director is R.J. Guizzetti. And we'll begin for Charlotte with Ethan Boos. The parents are Caleb and Allison Boos, the sports, basketball, and track, off to the University of Colorado to study biology. Elise Crossman, the parents are Brent and Julie Crossman, the sports. This will take a while. Golf, cross country, basketball, soccer, track, off to Northern Michigan University to study business. Neva Demuth, the parents are Heidi and Greg Eid. The sports are volleyball, basketball, and soccer, off to Grand Valley State University to study business and pre-vet. Kennedy Gilding, the parents are Carly and Troy Gilding. For Kennedy, it's basketball and soccer, off to Grand Valley State to study health sciences. Brendan Guilford, the parents are Ryan and Michelle Guilford. The sports are football and track, off to Lansing Community College to study engineering and physics. Ryan Hesley, the parents are John and Amy Hesley. The sports are soccer and basketball, off to Central Michigan University to study business. Mercedes Kelly, the parents are Darcy and Larry Gilson. The sports, sideline cheer, swimming, competitive cheer, and softball. For Mercedes, off to Michigan State to study nursing. Mercedes, I gotta make sure Mercedes, I got that right. Mercedes Kelly, off to Michigan State to study nursing. Brody Sobek, the parents are James and Davy Sue Sobek. The sports are bowling and baseball. For Brody, undecided yet about a school, but the major will be sports management. Olivia Summers, the parents are Christopher and Julie Summers. The sports are volleyball, basketball, and soccer, off to Saginaw Valley State to study nursing. And Benjamin Stambaugh, the parents are Joseph and Rachel Stambaugh. For Benjamin, it's football, basketball, and golf. Undecided about a school yet, exercise science will be his major. The best of the Orioles of Charlotte High School. Way to go, guys. We bring up the Greyhounds from Eaton Rapids next. Jay Zubel is the athletic director. Derek Lowndes is the principal at Eaton Rapids. And we begin with their honorees tonight from Eaton Rapids, Trey Acker. The parents are Rick and Christy Acker. The sports for Trey are basketball and baseball, off to Concordia University in Ann Arbor, undecided yet about a major. Chase Carlson. The parents are Matt and Ann Carlson. The sports are basketball and baseball, off to the University of South Carolina to study criminal justice. Christopher Copeland. The parents are Christopher and Dawn Copeland. The sports are cross country and track, off to Messiah University to study cyber security. Margaret Monroe. The parents are Todd and Elizabeth Monroe. The sports are swimming and water polo, off to Hope College to study physical therapy. Colin Norder. The parents are Phil and Janine Norder. The sports are basketball and track, off to Michigan State to study mechanical engineering. Trey Orr. Parents John and Julie Orr. For Trey, it's basketball and golf, off to Spring Arbor University. Undecided, perhaps business will be a major. Adeline Sysom. I'm going to make sure I got that right. If I got that right, Adeline. Adeline Sysom. The parents are David and Shelley Sysom. Sports are volleyball, basketball, and track. For Adeline, it's off to Hillsdale College to study business. Trinity Tupper. The parents are Tony and Sandy Tupper. The sports are basketball and soccer, off to the University of Michigan to study nursing. Camden Walker. The parents are Brad and Laura Walker. Soccer and track, off to Michigan State to study business. And Connor Woodcock. The parent is Tricia Woodcock. Tennis and bowling for Connor. And he has yet to decide on a college, but when he gets there, Connor will study engineering. The Greyhounds of Eaton Rapids High School, the best of the best. Way to go, guys. You guys are always looking good. You too. All right, Ionia's next, and the athletic director at Ionia is Andy Barr, and Andy is here, and we'll have the best of the senior scholar athletes from Ionia High School, beginning with Cassidy Casillas. The parents are Jeff and Debbie Casillas. The sports are volleyball and track. Cassidy is off to Grand Valley State to study diagnostic medical sonography. Cassidy, you're the first one in 100 years that I've ever known who's gone to study and God bless you and good for you. You'll be tremendous. Madeline Hanelsek. The parents are Kristen and Alex Hanelsek. For Madeline, it's cross country and track off to Kalamazoo College to study public health and music. Riley Hustad. The parents are Robin and Alan Hustad. The sports are cross country and track. Riley's off to the University of Michigan to study computer science. Alexander Lang. The parents are Beth and Chad Lang. The sports are cross country swimming and track off to Calvin University to study chemical engineering. Heath Lapointe. The parents are David and Heidi Lapointe. The sports are cross country and track off to Albion College with a major yet to be determined. Josiah Magley. The parents are Deanna and Darren Magley. The sports are cross country and track off to Oakland University or Cornerstone, one of the two, to study pre-med. James Peabody. The parents are Julie and Richard Peabody. The sports are basketball and track. The school is Aquinas College. That's next for James to study actuarial science. Asa Randall. The parent is Jessica Randall. The sport for Asa is football and powerlifting. He's off to the University of Michigan to study business administration. Jessica Swineheart. The parents are Scott and Ann Swineheart. For Jessa Swineheart, the sports for Jessa, volleyball, basketball, and tennis. Jessa is off to Hope College to study business. And Trevor Tucker, the parents are Trevor and Lori Tucker. The sports for Trevor, football, basketball, and track off to Central Michigan University to study business information systems. These are the best of the senior scholar athletes from Ionia High School. Way to go, guys. Let's bring up next in the white division the Cougars from Lansing Catholic High School. The athletic director, Ken Heinze, is here, and we'll begin with the Lansing Catholic Cougars with Nora Coffey. And the parents are Pam and Chris Coffey. For Nora, the sports are cross country and track off to Michigan State to study hospitality management. Rory Durr. The parents are Ellen and Bill Durr. For Rory, it's basketball, football, baseball. Undecided yet about a school, but it'll be pre-med as a major for Rory. Amanda Melling. The parents are Mark and Leanne Melling. For Amanda, it's golf and lacrosse. The college will be St. Mary's College. Undecided yet about a major. Joshua Otten. The parents are Todd and Elizabeth Otten. For Joshua, the sports are soccer, cross country, and track. Off to Detroit Mercy in Detroit, of course, to major in English. David Pruder. The parents are Dave and Teresa Pruder. For David, it's cross country and track. Off to Michigan State University with a major yet to be decided. Christian Rule. The parents are Eric and Jenny Rule. For Christian, it's tennis and golf. Off to Michigan State with a major to be determined. Sebastian Schoaf. The parents are Brian and Heather Schoaf. For Sebastian, it is swimming and water polo. Off to Aquinas College with the major to be determined. Drew Taylor. The parents are Michael and Karen Taylor. And for Drew, it's tennis and bowling. Off to Lansing Community College to study engineering. Christian Tucker. The parents are Mel and Joellen Tucker. The sports for Christian, football and lacrosse. Off to the IMG Academy with a major to be determined. And Alexander Waters. The parents are Tom and Kim Waters. For Alexander, it's football and basketball. Off to Michigan State to study kinesiology. You're looking at the best senior scholar athletes from Lansing Catholic High School. Way to go, guys. From Lansing Catholic, we'll go to the Raiders of Portland High School. Kevin Veal is the athletic director. Jamie DeWitt is the principal at Portland. And we'll begin with Portland, Ashley Bauer. The parents are Christy and Jeff Bauer. For Ashley, it's golf, basketball, and soccer. Off to Wayne State University with a major to be determined. Ava Guilford. The parents are Amy and Patrick Guilford. The sports, volleyball and basketball. Off to Albion College to study exercise science and physical therapy. Alyssa Jack. The parents are Daniel and Leanne Jack. For Alyssa, cross country and tennis. Off to Aquinas College to study business administration and international business. Braden Kerr. The parents are Monica and Jerry Kerr. The sports are football and track. Undecided about a school, but engineering for Braden will be the major. Kara Craxon, the parents are Jill and John Craxon. The sports are volleyball and tennis for Kara. Undecided for Kara yet on a school, but engineering will be the major. Madison Luxmore, Christine and William Luxmore, Madison's parents, the sports, football, soccer, and off to Houghton College to study pre-med. Timothy Pohl, the parents are Robert and Jackie Pohl. Sports are tennis and golf, off to the University of Michigan to study electrical engineering. Paige Pung, the parents are Lori and Robert Pung. For Paige, it's golf, basketball, and softball, off to Michigan State to study packaging and engineering. Gina Sande, the parents are Steve and Kendra Sande. The sports are golf and tennis, off to Calvin University to study education. And for Steve and Kendra Sande, Jorgen Sande, okay? The sports for Jorgen are tennis and baseball. Undecided yet on a school. Business for Jorgen will be the major. The best of the Raiders of Portland High School. Good to see you. Thanks for coming out. Way to go. So what, you guys are brother, sister back here? You must be brother, sister back here, right? The whole deal? Okay, good. All right. You guys must play tennis against each other all the time, because tennis are the sports. I hope she beats him, to be honest. All right. Now, where is Alan? Yeah, Alan's still around. And Alan, this is Sexton, so, cool your jets on this a little bit. And by the way, I mean, the job that it's Sexton, I mean, they've had such a great year. They're getting a new building, new stuff, all that good stuff, and all these kids are they're the next Alan Haller that are coming for the Sexton Big Reds. Anthony Brandon is the athletic director, and Dan Bogan is the principal at Sexton High School. Beginning with Kiera Brown, the parents are Ramon and Angela Jones. For Kiera, volleyball and basketball, out to Lansing Community College to study culinary arts. Shar Du, the parent is May 2. The sports for Shar, football and baseball, undecided yet on college plans and a major. Caleb Jones, the parent is Michaela Chappelle. The sports are track and basketball, off to Grambling State University for Caleb to study political science. Karen Massey, the parent is Kim McGee. For Karen, the sports are basketball and track, off to Lansing Community College to study nursing. Jose Medina, the parent is Carlos Clark. The sports are football and wrestling. And for Jose, it's off to Davenport University to study sports management. River Ray Hall, the parents are Rachel Gillespie and Stephen Elton. For River, the sports are football, wrestling, and track, undecided yet about a college and a major. Kobe Rochester, the parent is Amber Rochester. For Kobe, it's football and golf. The college plans yet to be fully determined, but police work for Kobe is in his future. And Charleston Rogers, the parents are Juanita Daniels and Marshall Rogers. The sports are football, track, and basketball for Charleston, off to Lansing Community College to study computer science. These are the best of the Big Red seniors at Hang on, one more. What have I got here? You know what? I'm looking for him here, and I don't have his name. So wait a minute. So I'll read. It's not on my list here. Davion Thomas from Lansing Sexton. Davion, I do not have your parents, and I don't have. Where is he? Davion, come on over here. Let's do this right. There we go, man. All right. So who's your parent or guardian?
LaDante and Matrice Thomas.
Okay. And your sports?
Basketball, wrestling, football, and band.
All right, basketball, wrestling, football, and band. Do you have your college decision made yet? And you don't have a major decision?
No.
Well, you deserve this, so way to go. Keep up the great work. All right, there you go. There you go. Those are the Big Reds of Lansing Sexton High School. Damien's kind of my main guy, man. Dan, I'll tell you, he's kind of my main guy. Way to go, Big Reds. Let's bring up the Panthers from Dewitt High School next. As the Big Reds leave the stage for Dewitt High School, the athletic director is Mike Bry and the principal is Jody McKean. And here we go with the DeWitt Panthers. Laura Belding, the parents are Todd and Kara Belding. For Laura, it's cross country and track, off to the University of Michigan to major in engineering. Trent Brandell, the parents are Tom and Terry Brandell. The sports, football and baseball, undecided about a college, but biology will be Trent's major. Julia Holden, the parents are James and Jill Holden. For Julia, it's cross country and track, off to the University of Michigan to study biology. Rory Kaufman, the parents are Todd and Jennifer Kaufman. For Rory, it's soccer, swimming, and diving, off to Saginaw Valley State to study engineering. Caitlin Lawver, the parents are Davy and Valerie Lawver. The sports, golf and softball for Caitlin, off to Texas Christian University to study business and pre-med. Sean Page, the parents are Charles and Rebecca Page. The sports are tennis and baseball. And for Sean, it's off to Aquinas College to study biology. Connor Rose, the parents are Chris and Kelly Rose. For Connor, it's cross-country swimming and diving and track. For Connor, it's off to the University of Michigan to study computer science. Cooper Sackett, the parents are Timothy and Kimberly Sackett. For Cooper, tennis, swimming, and diving. Undecided about a school, but the major will be biochemistry. Gunnar, is it Stirrett? I want to make sure I got it right, guys. Gunnar Stirrett, okay? Gunnar Stirrett. Parents are Chad and Renee Stirrett. Dewitt didn't give me a pronunciation guide. Gunnar Stirrett. The parents are Chad and Renee Stirrett. For Gunnar, the sports are hockey and golf. Gunnar is undecided yet about a school, but when he gets there, it'll be mechanical engineering as the major. And Jane Thomas. The parents are Chris and Stacy Thomas. For Jane, it's swimming and diving along with tennis. Jane is off to Michigan State to study nursing. There you go, the Panthers of DeWitt High School. There you go, guys. And as DeWitt departs, on we go in the white division with the Trojans from East Lansing High School, the best of the best. The athletic director is Nikki Norris. Andy Wells is the principal, and we'll salute the top scholar senior athletes from East Lansing. Beginning with Peyton Baker, and the parents are Amy and Jim Baker. For Peyton, it's cross-country, basketball, and soccer. Peyton's off to Albion College to study pre-med. Blake Burns, the parents are Joni and Eric Burns. For Blake, it's hockey and baseball, off to Michigan State to study mechanical engineering. Molly Conlon, the parents are Mike Conlon and Stacy Dickert Conlon. The sports, cross-country, bowling, and soccer. Molly's off to the University of Michigan to study architecture. Jackson Early, the parents are Jennifer and Jason Early. And for Jackson, it's tennis and lacrosse, off to Hope College to study accounting. Allison Fromeyer, the parents are Jeff and Brooke Fromeyer. The sports are golf and gymnastics, off to Michigan State to study nursing. Connor Gott, the parents are Kate and Dave Gott. The sports are soccer and baseball. Connor's off to Michigan State to study pre-med. Is that Jai Kozar Lewis? The parents are Megan Kozar and Jerry Lewis. And for Jai, it's soccer and track. Jai's off to Michigan State to study supply chain management. Judd Pfeiffer, the parents are Karen and Matt Pfeiffer, and for Judd, it's tennis and track, off to Michigan State to study computer science. Gavin Purnell, the parents are Adam and Elizabeth Purnell. For Gavin, it's cross country and track. He's off to the University of Michigan to study environmental science. Evan Sunderman, the parents are Michael and Tanya Sunderman. For Evan, it's football, basketball, baseball, off to Grand Valley State University with a major to be declared. And Shuli Valadez, the parents are Carlene Shu and John Valadez. And the sports for Shuli, bowling and track, off to New York University to study pre-dental. A high five to the Trojans of East Lansing High School. Yep. There you go, guys. Next up, the Vikings of Lansing Everett High School. The athletic director at Everett is Gabe Murley, and Randall Hester, one of the administrators at Everett, is also here to help out. Saluting the Everett Vikings, beginning with Jimmy Abdel Rahman. If I got that right? Jimmy, if I got that right? Jimmy Abdel Rahman. The parents are Amira Kuti and Badias Budir. The sports are basketball and track, off to Lansing Community College for Jimmy to study kinesiology. Jackie Carter. For Jackie Carter, the parents are Tanisha Carter and Kevin Carter. For Jackie, the sports are football and track, off to Luther College to study pre-med. Demorian Draper, the parents are Rainique Coleman and Christopher Scott. For Demorian, the sports are football and wrestling, off to Olivet College to study engineering. Max Foster, the parents are Kristen and Mitch Foster. For Max, it's cross country and swimming, off to Michigan State with a major to be determined. Abraham Hands, the parents are Abraham and Caroline Hands. The sports are tennis and baseball, and for Abraham, Lansing Community College to study welding. Zamariah Jackson, the parents are Angela and Walter Jackson. For Zamariah, the sports are volleyball and softball. He's off to Michigan State to study business. Siley Lewis, the parent, pardon? Silas, I'm sorry. Silas, you got my apology. Silas Lewis. The parent is Ramisha Ray. And for Silas, the sports, football, and wrestling. Silas is off to Lansing Community College to study culinary arts. Alexandre Morellis. The parents are Atisha Morellis and Ernesto Morellis. The sports for Alexandre, football and baseball, off to Olivet Nazarene to study kinesiology. Maxwell Smedley. The parents are Jennifer Brewer and Ronald Smedley. For Maxwell, the sports are soccer and golf, off to the Air Force Academy to study to be a flight surgeon. Maxwell, we got one extra applause for you because you're off to the United States Air Force Academy. And Tina Tran. For Tina, the parents are Ha and Heap Tran. The sports for Tina, volleyball and softball, off to the University of Michigan to study business. The best of the Vikings of Lansing Everett High School. Way to go, guys. We're down to the Final Four. We've had 15 great schools, the CAAC, 3 divisions, and 19 schools. And next up are the Comets from Grand Ledge High School. The athletic director is Steve Baker, who's here, and the principal is Ken Wright from Grand Ledge. We'll begin with Emily Crawford. The parents are Beth and Nicholas Crawford. For Emily, the sports are gymnastics and track, off to Michigan State to study neurobiology. Alexandria Diller. The parents are Jessica and Brian Diller. Alexandria, swimming and water polo, off to McKendree University to study athletic training. That would be Jade Friedless. The parent is Lori Friedless. For Jade, the sports, swimming and tennis, off to the University of Michigan. Mechanical engineering will be his major. Olivia Johnson, Melissa and Timothy Johnson, the parents. For Olivia, the sport, cross country and track, off to either Lansing Community College or Central Michigan to study communication sciences and disorders. Sophia Johnston. The parents are Beth and Stephen Johnston. For Sophia, the sports, fall and winter sideline cheer, off to Central Michigan University to study broadcast and cinematic arts. Ethan McCartney. Parents are Jennifer and Brett McCartney. For Ethan, football and baseball, off to the University of Michigan for Ethan to study engineering. Jackson Raymond. The parents are Jody Welling and Thomas Raymond. For Jackson, the sports are football and wrestling. He's going to be off to the University of Michigan to study pre-med. Kayla Roper. The parents are Bethany and Josiah Roper. For Kayla, pom-pom and track, the college plans Liberty University to study English education. Zachary Vanderplug. The parents are Tricia and Bill Vanderplug. For Zachary, the sports, football, and swimming, off to Michigan State to study computer engineering. Darby Wilson. The parents are Jody and Ross Wilson. His sports are fall and winter, except Darby, the sports are fall and winter sideline cheer. And for Darby, off to Michigan State University, undecided yet about a major. The best of the Comets of Grand Ledge High School. Way to go, guys. As Grand Ledge departs, we'll bring on the Holt Rams, the top senior two-sport lettering scholar athletes from Holt. The athletic director at Holt is Renee Sadler. The principal is Mike Willard. We begin with Jairi Ashakor. The parents are Dr. Akil and Tanisha Ashakor. The sports for Jairi, basketball and track, off to the University of Oregon to study accounting. Grant Backman. The parents are Ken and Rhonda Backman. The sports are wrestling and golf, off to Western Michigan University for Grant to study civil engineering. Nathan Bremer. The parents are Lisa and Brian Bremer. The sports for Nathan, football, wrestling, and lacrosse. He'll attend either Cleveland State or Michigan State to study chemical engineering. Xander Collins. The parents are Brian and Sarah Collins. For Xander, it's swimming and track, off to Michigan State to study plant biology. Jack Graybo, the parents are Colleen Graybo, and the sports for Jack are tennis and lacrosse. College plans, Michigan State or Grand Valley State for Jack to study computer engineering. Zachary Griffin, the parents are Greg and Stacy Griffin. For Zachary, it's in tennis and golf. His postgraduate career plans would be a plumbing apprenticeship at American Plumbing. Claire Grunewood, the parents are David and Lori Grunewood. The sports are basketball and track. And for Claire, off to the University of Rochester in New York to study biology and pre-med. Jaden Joseph, the parents are Mark and Katie Joseph. For Jaden, it's volleyball, basketball, and softball off to Ferris State University to study pharmacy. Morgan Mussel, is that correct if I got that right, guy? Morgan Mussel, the parent is Fred Mussel. And for Morgan, cross country and soccer, Morgan is off to Central Michigan University to study molecular neuroscience. Allison Penske, the parents are Cynthia and David Penske. For Allison, the sports are cross country, sideline cheer, competitive cheer, and track off to the University of Michigan for Allison to study creative writing and literature. And Taylor Titus, the parents are Dennis and Brandy Butcher and Chris Titus. For Taylor, sports, basketball, and track off to Lansing Community College to study nursing. The best of the Holt Rams here tonight. Okay, guys. Way to go, Holt. Way to go, guys. Next up are the Wolves from Okemos High School. The athletic director at Okemos here is Tempe Brown, and we will salute the Okemos Wolves who are here, the best of the senior scholar athletes from Okemos High School, beginning with Benjamin Beamer. For Benjamin, the parents are Tim and Alyssa Beamer. For Benjamin, the sports are cross country and track off to Michigan State with a major to be determined. Adrienne Cahoon, the parents are Benjamin and Aaron Cahoon. For Adrienne, the sports volleyball, basketball, and softball off to Wisconsin-Stevens Point to study wildlife ecology. Tegan Hemmerly, the parents are Matt Hemmerly and Charney Benson. For Tegan, the sports are swimming and softball off to Grand Valley State to study nursing. Sharia Kethareddy, Sharia Kethareddy, the parents are Sampath Kethareddy and Anitha Japa. The sports for Sharia cross country and track, and Sharia's off to the University of Michigan to study biochemistry. Lindsay Korb, the parents are Jeffrey and Michelle Korb. The sports are cross country, skiing, and track. Lindsay's off to Grand Valley State to study education. Victor Lewis, the parents are Jeff and Ellen Lewis, and for Victor, it's swimming and diving, water polo, off to the University of Michigan for Victor to study mechanical engineering. Kaylin Mead O'Brien, parents are Malcolm and Beth Mead O'Brien. For Kaylin, the sports are cross country and track, undecided yet about a school and a major. Andrew Naser, the parents are Samer and Annette Naser. For Andrew, it's cross country and track off to Michigan State with a major to be determined. Aaron Ruster, the parents are Brian and Catherine Ruster. The sports are swimming and diving, water polo, off to the University of Colorado to study, get this, atmospheric and oceanomic science. Go get them, Aaron. And Andrew Yeoman Stevenson, the parents are Robert Stevenson and Jamie Yeomans. And for Andrew, it's cross country and track. The college plans Michigan State and physical and mechanical engineering. The best of the best from Okemos High School. And last but not least, the Warriors of Waverly High School. The athletic director is Scott Castillo. The principal is Tony Terranova, who is here. And by the way, if I got that right, Tony, because that's the way, because you can see the way that thing's spelled, I had to do that on my own. Okay, Scott Castillo is the athletic director at Waverly. Tony Terranova is the principal. Here we go, Waverly Warriors. You're looking good. Is that Marika or is that Marique? If I got that. Marique Anderson. The parents are Alicia and Eric Anderson, and for Marique, it's swimming and track. Marique is off to Michigan State's Lyman Briggs College to study zoology. Francesca Bonato is an exchange student Francesca's parents are Silvio Bonato and Barbara Crivellaro. The host parent here is Frances Helmick. For Francesca, the sports are sideline and competitive cheer. Her post-graduation plans are to return to Italy and to attend a university. Quincy Burton, the parents are Lydia Burton and Quincy Burton Sr. For Quincy, the sports are tennis and track, off to Culinary Institute of America to study general culinary arts. Reese Goodrich, the parents are Michael and Diane Isley, Matt and Sarah Goodrich. For Reese, the sports are football, basketball, baseball, off to Michigan State to study accounting and finance. Paulson Justin, the parent is Innocien Justin Dortelis. And for Paulson, the sports are tennis and track, off to Michigan State to study pre-veterinary medicine. Zachary Lyman, the parents are Tim and Amy Lyman. For Zachary, the sports cross country and track, off to Lansing Community College, a major to be determined. Michaela Moreno, the parents are Daniel and Amber Moreno and Amber and Aaron Lee. For Michaela, the sports are volleyball and soccer, off to Albion College for Michaela to study biochemistry. Emma Oleander is another exchange student at Waverly High School. For Emma, the parents are Klaus and Karina Oleander. The host mother is Kate Crofts. For Emma, it's sports, swimming, and soccer. Postgraduate plans for Emma: return to school in Denmark and study English and social studies. And by the way, for you two, we welcome you here to America, okay? Thanks for that. Jariah Rollins, the parents are Christopher and Hope Rollins, and for Jariah, it's football, wrestling, and track, all right? And for Jariah, off to Tennessee State University to study computer science and engineering. And there's Xavier Williams. The parent is Zakiya Williams. The sports for Xavier, wrestling and track, off to Louisiana State University to study computer engineering. Those are the Warriors from Waverly High School. What do you do, Tom? Screw it. Alan, how many I screw up? About 7, 8 of those people screwed those things up. I always say it isn't as much sometimes the kids as it is some of the parents. Way to go, guys. As usual, you're fantastic. I will never forget covering the class of 2022. Nobody that I've been around has had to go through what you guys have had to go through. And to achieve what you've achieved, you ought to give yourselves a high five. You make our community look proud. Way to go. Tom?
Well, we got through it. Tim, I don't know how you do it in 90 minutes, but you do it. And it's really awesome. And it's, really great to have the Capital Area Conference in the capital city in this historic venue. I don't know if some of you young kids know the history of this building, but it's awesome to be here. And I want to thank the Lansing School District, Chris and Mona, for hosting us tonight. Thank you for all your hard work. Without you, it couldn't have been done, so I appreciate it very much. Special thanks to Sparrow Health System, who help us sponsor this event and provide financial backing for it. Without them, it wouldn't happen either, so thank you, Sparrow Health Systems. Our speakers, Dr. Luke Wilcox and Alan Haller, great messages. Thank you so much for being here at this event. We appreciate it. Special thanks to our school administrators and athletic directors that I have the privilege to work with each and every year, and it's just a privilege for me to work with these people. Also to the support staff in the schools. It's been a rough 2 years. It's been a rough 2 years for our principals, athletic directors, and people working in the schools. So I'd like to give them all a round of applause. Thank you very much. A couple people I'm going to single out right now that are retiring and leaving us at the end of this year. And I want to Jody McKeon, principal, Dewitt High School. Jody, stand up. my good friend Andrew Wells from East Lansing High School. Andy. And leaving us is one of our athletic administrators she's going to be around till fall, Renee Sadler. Renee, please stand up. And this last guy is hard to say goodbye to because he's been this guy's a great AD. I mean, just a really great AD, and he's been a great friend. He's a leader in our field, a leader in our state association, and our state association voted him as Athletic Director of the Year a couple years ago. We're going to miss you, Chris. Chris Irvin, St. John's High School. Student athletes, congratulations on your accomplishments, both athletically and academically. We wish you all the best in the future. Have a good night. Drive home safe. Thank you for coming.